So me and Dominique became friends. We got close. We was like brother, sister, and we had sex every day, nonstop.
You said you all were like brother and sister?
We was friends. We was close like brother and sister. We was friends.
We was hanging together, Yana. We were only friends.
Yes.
That's a picture at my granny's funeral.
And it says, gotta love your siblings, laugh out loud, and I am my sister's keeper.
My grandmother made peace with me before she passed away. She told me about the rumors. She told me that she do not like my mother. Not only did my granny say that,
That
because
is
I
not
started to
true.
get up at funeral and tell them
No.
what my granny said, but I said that's not the proper time.
This is already a disaster. A pastor might have fathered a child with a woman 28 years younger. To make it wilder, another guy is outside waiting for a surprise no one wants.
You're a church pastor and bishop who may have fathered a child with a woman who's 28 years younger than you. So you admit you were involved with 3 different men during the time you conceived your daughter, including Mr. House.
Pastor House met Ms. Webster while moving for a church job. Instead of just prayers, he made it clear he had manly needs. He says they bonded over tragedies, but this is all leading to a paternity test.
I met her, we began to talk to Mom. I went through tragedy, I lost my child. She's kind of brought a connection. There was a connection, I thought she was hot. And after exchanging numbers, I decided that I wanted to follow up on this. So we set a date for the following week and we went out and, we just had a great time together.
Ms. Webster says they met at church. House says it was a fast food joint. Either way, things escalated fast. Then, on national TV, he calls her a hoochie.
But instead of that, it was like more, it led on to sexual, unprotected sex.
I didn't meet her at a church. I met her at a fast food joint and we exchanged the numbers.
That's wrong, Yana. We met at her.
Looked at each other and quickly she became a hoochie and that's what it was all about.
Excuse me,
Miles Jones arrives, thinking he's confirming fatherhood. Instead, he finds out about House. His face goes from happy to be here to what in the world.
So, Ms. Webster, you were in fact sleeping with someone else during that time.
Yes, sure.
But I wasn't.
Who's that person?
Mr. Miles Jones. He was a boyfriend. We knew each other for 5 years, but it was an on and off relationship.
House claims Webster used him for money, but she says he never gave her a dime. Miles Jones says he was the one buying diapers. Judge Lake roasts House, but first, they need to find the dad.
I think she's with me for money.
Well, how do you think that when you never even gave me a penny?
Because things could be, I did. She'll tell you that her phone was off. Her phone went on, my bankroll's on swollen, and I kept her
Well,
phone.
for baby Amelia, and just in case you end up being the father, we know we won't have any problems getting some child support.
Webster says she called House after getting pregnant, but his phone was disconnected. House swears he only found out 30 days ago. He stayed in town, but never heard from her.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was trying to contact Mr. House. His phone was disconnected. First, I never knew he left town. And then I didn't even get in contact to tell him until after I had my baby. He denied her. He wanted a DNA test. And for his money to be on full when I asked him for diapers and everything, where was they?
Miles Jones finds out 5 to 6 months into the pregnancy. He asks if the baby is his, and Webster vaguely says, it's a possibility. Not exactly reassuring.
I came over on a regular hookup to go meet up with her. We was gonna go out, do what we normally do. And then she said to me, I'm pregnant. I said, really? I said, how long? She was like, I'm about 5 to 6 months.
I'm pregnant. Did you then tell him, and you're the father?
No, I told him it's a possibility that he can be my baby's father.
The birth certificate has no father's name, but the baby has Miles Jones's last name. Everyone is confused. He insists he was there all along, but now it's time for a twist.
Let me look at this birth certificate.
Hold on.
I haven't even seen the birth certificate, but I did sign some papers at Amelian's birth.
Yes, and I told you that your name wasn't going on there because it was a possibility that you was not my baby father.
But I've been there since day one.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing listed under the name of father. You made her last name Miles Jones.
That's my last name.
Yes.
House says he's holding back emotions after losing a child. Miles Jones hopes the baby is his, but he's not seeing the resemblance. The truth is coming.
Because I went through a tragedy and I lost a 6-year-old daughter. She was killed as well. I just keep that barrier there. I feel like it's safe for me. Yeah, when I was younger, I was hoping to have a child. I didn't have one. So when you get to this stage, I just want to guard my emotions, especially after hearing what I heard today.
Mr. Miles Jones, you are not her father.
This kicked off like a soap opera with no breaks. Ms. Robinson is furious. Her so-called friend, Ms. Jackson, slept with her son. Now Jackson claims he's the father, despite having a whole lineup of men. The courtroom turns into a reality show instantly.
You've opened this case for your son because you're furious with your former friend, the defendant, and is now claiming he fathered her child, even though you know she was sleeping with many more men.
Jackson doesn't hesitate. She admits it. No guilt, no shame. But she flips the script, saying Chaplin refuses to step up. Chaplin, looking like he got hit by a bus, denies being the father. The audience gasps, and we're just getting started.
Ms. Jackson,
Yes.
you admit you slept with your friend's son without her knowledge, but claim the one thing you know is the plaintiff is a deadbeat who has done nothing for your 3-month-old daughter, Milani, and that needs to change today.
Chaplin is way too confident for a guy on a paternity test show. He insists they were just friends, but also says Jackson had plenty of other options. Judge Lake gives him a look like, "Boy, do you hear yourself?" And then chaos erupts.
I'm absolutely sure I'm not the father, 100%
Explain.
positive, because during the time that I knew her, we never was in a relationship. We was only friends throughout the entire time. I've known her to talk to several other men.
Just talking? You gotta do more than talking to make a baby.
Oh yeah, well, whenever we used to hang out or whatever, she had multiple people coming around. You know, a guy was spending a lot of time.
Jackson isn't holding back. She claims they weren't just friends. They were very friendly, all day, every day. Then she calls his mom, Cousin It, and his sister Shrek. The audience loses it. Reality TV gold.
Me and Dominique was having sex numerous of times every day. Okay, so therefore, for him to say that I was sleeping with somebody else, he's lying. The only one who got him thinking that is Cousin It over there, which is his mother.
It.
And dang on
Yeah. Throughout the whole
sister.
time I talked to this young lady, she had more than one cell phone.
Your Honor.
Hold on, let's get some order. Let's get some order. Let's get some order.
Robinson goes full mom mode. She took Jackson in, helped her, fed her, and Jackson repaid her by sleeping with her son. Robinson is personally offended and makes sure Jackson knows it. And somehow, it's about to get even worse.
Me and her
I'm
son
from
was
the
friends.
old school. I'm 48 years
Girl,
old.
and you
where
dang
I
13
come
years
from,
older
and
than
any
me,
other
honey.
woman my age,
You're 3
I
years
don't
older
care
than
if
me,
he's
honey.
a sit or not.
It
you
doesn't
do
matter.
Not
He's
sleep
grown.
with somebody
He's
who
grown.
helped your kids.
He's
You
grown.
don't sleep with my son when he had
Girl.
already had something going on. I don't give a dang if he is of age. I
Girl.
took the child in, and she
I don't
slept
need
with
you
my
to say
son
no
that
daggone
hurt.
mama.
This is a life lesson in betrayal. Robinson took Jackson under her wing, never imagining she'd mess with her son. Just when it seems like it can't get worse, another bombshell drops.
She was a young girl out here that needed some help with 5 kids, ma'am. And I done been through what she been through. So my payment back was to sleep with my son.
You befriend her once you met her.
Yes.
And you all started what? You
Going to the school dances, I got pictures of that. They need to put it up there. I fed them. I put them in my house. All them pictures that you see, that we was to the school children's dance, Valentine's dance.
Jackson attempts to justify it by saying she and Chaplin were like brother and sister. Judge Lake is baffled because that's not how siblings work. Jackson doubles down. The audience groans. Chaplin face palms. Even the courtroom walls are tired.
So me and Dominique became friends. We got close. We was like brother, sister, and we had sex every day, nonstop.
Miss Jackson, that sounds nasty. Now, you said you all were like brother and sister.
We was friends. We was close, like brother and sister. We was friends. Every time you see him, me and him hanging out together.
We was hanging together, Yana. We were only friends. Playing
Having
the home
sex
girl
while
role.
we was
You know what I'm
friends.
saying? So after
Every night.
Chaplin enters let me tell y'all something mode. He reveals a random guy once stopped his car just to demand why Jackson wasn't answering his calls. And Jackson introduced Chaplin as her brother. He is speechless.
Not only that, one day we were walking down the street. A couple of guys were honking the horn, you know, trying to get her attention, but these are people that she knew, not just people who just thought she. And one guy stopped, he rode by and spoke, came back by and had to stop the car to speak to her. He was like, you know, why haven't you been answering my phone calls, or why haven't I been able to catch up with you? He ended up giving both of us a ride. She gets in the front seat with him, I get in the back seat. She's telling this man that I'm her brother.
Robinson is livid. Jackson admits to sleeping with one other guy, but insists Chaplin is the father. Robinson yells that if the test proves it, Chaplin is stepping up. The courtroom is chaos.
It was 2 married men she hinted me, but people that know me know I don't fool with married men,
Girl,
and I don't
stop
fly with
lying.
that, and
That's
you
what a
can't
married
talk to
man
me
liar.
about that. So she never told me their names, but she hinted it.
It was only one other man, but at the end of the day, me and Dominique was having sex every day. Shut up, Mario.
Miss
Minute, I
Jackson.
hope while you up there riding him out, you can take care of this dang on child support when this DNA test come back today.
Text messages reveal Chaplin was excited when the baby was born. Texting OMG, she's so beautiful. The audience gasps. Robinson, however, is still ready to fight.
So, Mr. Chaplin, oh my God, where's she at? I guess that's where.
Yes.
What you doing? Where is my daughter? Pound 7 ounce, 18 and a half inches, born at 5:39 a.m. Mr. Chaplin, you right. Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. Hey, I want to see her.
Why you ain't game?
Robinson delivers the line of the century. She told Chaplin to wait for Dana. Who's Dana? Oh, just her hilarious way of saying DNA. The courtroom cracks up, but the big moment is here.
They came and gave me a pregnancy test. I said, where you got it from? He said, her. I said, take her back to the clinic yourself. Wait, and then bring me that test back. He took her to the clinic. She took the test. Okay, we know she's pregnant. I said, now come back, talk to me when you got Dana. I said, let's go see her.
Who's Dana?
Dana is DNA.
Oh,
And that's what we here for today, to see Dana, honey.
Dana comes, or when you go see Dana, that's the DNA?
That's right.
Right before the results, Robinson drops another bomb. Jackson was also with a married man. Jackson loses it, calling her a liar. But now it's time for Dana to speak.
She wasn't just sleeping with him. When the married man came to talk to my son, it was me, my son, and the dude. And I bet you this ain't gonna come back Dominique Chapman, baby. I bet you this gonna come back somebody else, baby.
You are saying you believe that there is a married man somewhere in this
Yes.
picture who could
Oh, my
potentially
God.
be the father
Yes.
of Milani.
Yes.
And the results say,
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Chaplin, you are the father.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
this whole thing kicks off like a TV show gone wild. Mr. Butterfield says he might be the dad, but thinks Ms. Bracknell just wants to stay with her new guy, Mr. Dallas. Get ready, because this love mess is just warming up.
You've summoned your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Bracknell, to paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Cara. You say she's denying you are Cara's dad because she's worried her family will be torn apart when the results prove you are the father.
Things get weird fast. Ms. Bracknell called the baby a gift, and Mr. Butterfield took it way serious. He starts thinking maybe he's the daddy after all. But oh boy, it gets even messier from here.
She had told me when we were breaking up, she said, thank you for the gift. And I said, what gift was that?
And it wasn't till later that you found out she was pregnant.
That is correct. You're
And then when you found that out, you thought to yourself, was that the gift?
the baby?
That's what you thought.
Yes, Your
When
Honor.
she said thank you for the gift, you said, oh, that's what she was talking about.
Yes, Your Honor.
She switched boyfriends faster than a remote clicks channels. Ms. Bracknell says she wasn't pregnant when she moved in with Mr. Dallas. Hang on, because the calendar drama is about to explode.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
Honestly, I didn't find out until 3 months after I did move out of his house because I was having irregular periods, so I just let it go for a minute. I'm not really a doctor person.
So you
Keep
didn't go
up
to
to
the
doctor
doctors for
visits.
how long?
Mr. Dallas pulls out a calendar like it's a magic map. He says the baby can't be Butterfield's because of dates. But wait, Butterfield's got receipts too?
August, her and Jesse split up. September, we was
Together,
getting together.
moved
We
in.
were
So this calendar,
August.
the
when
dates,
Mr. Butterfield split up.
when the relationship with Mr. Butterfield and Ms. Bracknell ended and when she came back to you.
Yeah.
Cara was conceived in mid-September and she was born in June.
Yes,
June
ma'am.
10th.
Butterfield says they were still, hanging out after she left. He even offers to take a lie detector test, like he's in a spy movie. Next up, yelling and pointing fingers.
Because honestly, we were sleeping together after that, all the way up until October 8th, the last time we had sex. Because I remember, I can take a lie detector test if you want to prove it. Asking me for money for gas so you can go see him.
Yeah, I so asked you for money, huh?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Butterfield, you're saying that you were still having sex with Ms. Bracknell till October. So although these dates may be true, they are missing.
Yeah.
Mr. Dallas says he named the baby and cut the cord. Butterfield says he found out about the baby on Facebook. Ouch. Time for the past to jump back in.
So, Mr. Dallas, you named Cara.
Yes, Your Honor. I cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah, you could cut the umbilical cord because I wasn't there. She hid it from me for how
Oh,
long?
you were there. You were stalking
8 months
us out
stalking you.
In the parking lot.
Yeah,
The only
don't
time that
even.
I actually
Don't
ever
even.
found out that you guys were even pregnant, it's a Facebook post that they posted on that the baby was even. That's before I even knew.
It
And then-
says-
Yep, that little girl's ready right there.
Butterfield says Bracknell hides pregnancies like squirrels hide snacks. He even says she cheated on his birthday. Double ouch. Things are heating up faster than pizza rolls in a microwave.
She hid all of her pregnancies. She even hid the one from her
no, I
youngest son,
didn't.
Carson. She hid from him.
No, I
he
didn't.
wasn't even at.
I didn't know when she went into the hospital, yeah, but you know what? We're over it.
Isn't that hiding it from you?
We're done and over with.
Hides pregnancies.
Oh yeah, she'll
No.
even run to her exes. It's like pattern. She'll run to him. She'll run to
From
another guy
people
that she cheated on me on my birthday.
I did not cheat on you.
Butterfield tried to reach out, but Bracknell says his messages were scary. Judge Lake tries to cool everyone down. Just wait, she's got more to say.
When I found out about it, I messaged her mom, let him know I was coming. I blocked, obviously, on their
That you were
Facebook.
coming.
You
Let's
were blocked
explain
me
that text
before
message.
you guys even got-
5 seconds after I posted that, he texted my mom saying, I'm coming to get that girl. Just
Oh,
all threats.
Well, if I want to
is
be in my
pretty much
daughter's
what
life,
happened.
why wouldn't I
Okay,
be?
and there's nothing wrong with that if she is your daughter, but we'll see.
Yes, we were. We'll see right today,
We
won't
will.
we? That's why we're here.
Butterfield says the baby has his nose, lips, and hair, like a mini-me. Bracknell says, nah, all her kids had light hair that changed later. Only one way to settle this: DNA time.
She looks more like me. Her own family even tells me.
They ain't family.
They look like me. She's got my nose, she's got my lips,
We'll see.
she's got my brown hair.
We'll see.
All her boys are blonde.
Yep, and they've gone brown the older they get.
Exactly.
So you are convinced, Mr. Butterfield, this is your daughter?
Oh, I'm 100% convinced.
Kara's biological father is Mr. Butterfield.
This whole thing was a roller coaster from the start. Miss Tucker comes in claiming her late son is Keundra's dad, while also asking for $3,800 in benefits. Meanwhile, Miss Mosley isn't buying it because this isn't the first time someone tried this on her son.
Miss Tucker, you're here today for your son, 1-year-old Keandre Tucker. Now, you say you're unsure whether a man you've been in a sexual relationship with or the defendant's deceased son is his biological father. You're also suing Ms. Mosley for $3,800 in Social Security benefits.
Yes, Your Honor.
This love triangle was messier than spilled spaghetti. Miss Tucker says she was with both guys, but spent more time with Mr. Andrews, even bringing a calendar to prove it. She found out she was pregnant on March the 16th and did some quick math. But let's be real, math in these situations is never 100% accurate.
When I met him, I did have a boyfriend, so, you know, that I was sleeping with 2 people at the same time, but it was more frequent with Mr. Andrews. And when I met him, I remember the exact date as if it was yesterday. I met him February the 6th. It was on my best friend's birthday. I actually have a calendar that I can actually show you too as well. From February 6th all the way from the 14th through the whole month, I was having sex with Mr. Andrews more frequent.
And here comes another twist. Miss Tucker says Mr. Andrews guessed she was pregnant before she even knew, while Miss Mosley says she only found out through a friend. When she asked her son, he flat out denied it, making things even messier.
Well, when I first found out, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be upfront with both of them. I went to Mr. Andrews first. I told him first, like, hey, look, I'm pregnant. Actually, before I even went and took the pregnancy test, he was the one that made me go take it, because before he said, hey, you're pregnant. I'm looking like, really? Like, I felt like I was being trapped, because he told me I was pregnant before I even went and took a pregnancy.
This went from drama to full-on chaos. Miss Mosley says her son called Miss Tucker wild and mentioned she was a stripper. But Judge Lake isn't here for that nonsense. She reminds everyone that whether or not she danced. The real question is if Mr. Andrews is the father.
First of all, he was incarcerated at the time. We spoke every day. On this particular day that I found out, when he called, I got on him. I was like, Eric, what's going on? Are you about to have another child? And he said, Mom, she is wild. She's a stripper. She performs private parties.
Nobody in this situation actually knew what was going on. Miss Mosley is confused because her son told her about all his kids, except this one, while Miss Tucker says he wasn't honest about how many kids he had. Turns out, she didn't even know about his other kids until his funeral. Yikes.
Let me tell you, his first child, he was so excited. He came home, he said, Mom, I'm about to have my first child. He was at the hospital, then the second child came. He talked about the baby, took pictures, the third child, the first girl.
Things just kept getting worse. Miss Tucker says Mr. Andrews didn't support her or the baby, and only visited after 3 weeks because she didn't send him money in jail. Judge Lake is basically like, we have bigger problems to deal with here.
After I had my baby, that's when I got in contact with Miss Mosley. We on the phone. She like, oh, nice to meet you, Kendra. She said, well, Mr. Andrews just got out of jail or whatever. And I was like, okay, so let me try to contact him so he can come spend time with Keandre. Never happened. It took him 3 weeks to come see my baby. This is a newborn baby now. He was angry and frustrated with me because when he was incarcerated, I wasn't sending him no money.
Now we bring in Instagram receipts. Miss Mosley swears Miss Tucker is only in this for the money, and even shows social media posts comparing the baby to Eric. But the real shocker? This isn't even the first time someone tried to say her son was their baby daddy.
Miss Tucker is bringing you to court.
For the money. She wants a check. I was still mourning. I'm looking on Instagram, finding pictures like these of my son and her son together, and I'm not even sure if he is his son.
Money talk just made everything worse. Miss Tucker brings out a budget, saying she's been paying for everything alone, but Miss Mosley refuses to help without proof. Judge Lake agrees that DNA is the only way to settle this, and the suspense is real.
So you have a breakdown of monthly expenses, baby formula, clothes, childcare, totaling $400 per month.
And that's just half, and I think that's only fair.
And so the basis of your suit is that you would like half of that amount to be covered by Ms. Mosley.
Yes.
So that would be $200 a month for 19 months.
Yes.
And so $3,800.
Yes.
You could feel the tension in the room.
It has been determined that Mr. Andrew is the biological father.
This thing got messy real fast. Ms. Heiser calls her ex-husband a textbook deadbeat who ditched her and their kid. Mr. Onbe fires back, saying she was juggling more guys than a talent show.
You say your ex-husband, Mr. Onbe, is a textbook deadbeat who abandoned you and your daughter almost 20 years ago. You claim Mr. Onbe has spent that time inventing outlandish excuses for denying his only daughter, but you say it all comes down to child support.
Things went from bad to soap opera real quick. Ms. Heiser says he was excited about the baby, but then some random guy popped up claiming to be the dad. Suddenly, Mr. Onbe was playing detective instead of father.
He's never been there for Gabrielle since birth, emotionally, physically, financially. In the beginning, when I first met him, he seemed like a stand-up guy, a family man. The first year, we decided to get married. I had found out I was pregnant and told him. He was happy at first, told his friends and family. Within a few months, it started to deteriorate.
This dude treated fatherhood like a part-time job he didn't apply for. He showed up drunk, covered in grease, and dipped 2 hours later. 2 weeks later, he was back. Not for the baby, but for a place to crash.
He wasn't there with me through most of the pregnancy. The day that I had went into labor, he showed up halfway through the birth, drunk and full of grease. He stayed for 2 hours and left, and I didn't see him again for 2 more weeks till he showed up on my doorstep needing a place to stay and wanted to play daddy.
So, Mr. Onbe, did you go back home after you came and saw Gabby in the hospital?
No, ma'am.
Gabby's 5th birthday was a disaster. Dad showed up for 10 minutes, promised her a toy, and then pulled a disappearing act. She's still waiting for that toy.
He was never really been in my life. My 5-year-old birthday party, he showed up to it for about 10 minutes. He left, told me he was going for a toy, didn't show back up with this toy, and didn't see him for years later.
And never came back?
Never came back, never
for
messaged
years?
me, never talked to me for years. I didn't see him for years.
Just when you think this can't get crazier, it does. Mr. Onbe says he caught his wife cheating and left without a word, just grabbed his beer and bounced. Sounds like a bad country song.
So I immediately shot out the back door, cut across the neighbors, and came over to the house, to the front door. So I opened the door. The bedroom is maybe 40 feet from the front door. I heard them loud and clear. There was no doubt in my mind what they were doing. They were having sex. It was very loud. You could hear it clearly as day. I grabbed a 6-pack of beer out of the fridge, which was mine. I hit the front door and I never looked back.
Because what's a messy court case without Facebook drama? Mr. Onbe finds a post where Gabby calls another man dad. Turns out, a family member had been telling her lies for years.
Because I don't know for surely that she's not mine. I have snapshots off Facebook. Gabrielle was telling this other man that he was the father and that she knew he was her daddy.
So, Mr. Onbe, you're saying you saw this on Facebook?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is a post from Gabby that says, "My daddy."
Yes, ma'am.
After years of running, the truth hits hard.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Onbe, you are the father.
This case is totally wild. A man drowning in child support debt for a kid who may not even be his. Mr. Wooten and his daughter, Miss Smith, are here to prove that Miss Backus is not his child. Meanwhile, Miss Backus is demanding an apology. And trust me, this is about to get messy.
You and your father, Mr. Wooten, are suing to prove Ms. Backus is not his biological daughter. You say your dad owes more than $92,000 in back child support for a child who isn't his and is on the verge of losing everything because his income is being garnished by 50% each month to pay off that debt.
Imagine losing half your paycheck every month for over 30 years for a kid that might not even be yours. Miss Smith explains that her dad is struggling financially because of a $92,000 debt. And just when you think that's bad, Miss Backus is about to fire back with some heat.
Primarily through the actions of her mother being very deceitful with my father from the very beginning of their relationship. They initially did not start that they began to garnish half of his wages until the point that they started garnishing his wages. It was going into arrears, drawing interest, and now is over $92,606.06.
Miss Backus remembers being a little girl crying while doctors took her blood for a DNA test. She says she always loved her father, even though he never showed up for her. The audience is clapping, and she's about to make sure everyone hears her side.
She made me go to the doctors. First of all, I remember being young and scared, and I started crying for my dad. He made me sit in his chair, and there were about 5, 6 doctors that held me down and blew dry for me. And all I remember is I kept screaming for my father. And I ain't never stopped loving my father, even if they don't claim me. But they gonna learn today.
Mr. Wooten swears he dated Miss Backus's mom for only 4 months, but Miss Backus says her mom told her it was 7 years. Someone's math is way off, and the judge is trying to figure out the truth. Spoiler, it's just going to get more confusing.
I met her mother, I think about 2 months after we been together. She said she was pregnant. 4 months after we was together, we broke up.
Well, Daddy, you and Mama got 2 different stories, and I'm coming to find out the truth.
So, Mr. Wooten, you're saying the relationship was 4 months long?
Once she was 4 months pregnant with her, we broke up. I realized that most of the things that she was only interested in was me helping her financially.
Miss Backus has photos proving she was once part of the Wooten family. Miss Smith admits she knew about her, but was never sure if she was really her sister. Now, the argument is turning into a full-on courtroom roast.
That's a picture at my granny's funeral.
And it says, gotta love your siblings, laugh out loud, and I am my sister's keeper.
My grandmother made peace with me before she passed away. She told me about the rumors. She told me that she do not like my mother. Not only did my granny say that,
That
because
is
I
not
started to
true.
get up at funeral and tell them what my granny said, but I said that's not the proper time.
Mr. Wooten says his own mom never believed Miss Backus was his kid. But before she passed, he told her she was just to keep the peace. Miss Backus is shook, and the courtroom is dead silent.
My mother was dying, and I would not deny her. In other words, my mother for years kept saying, you know she's not your daughter. And up to that point, when I told my mother, I said, yes, she is, you know. That's when my mother decided to apologize to her.
That she is your daughter.
I stopped trying to stop the drama. Here, you have to understand that.
They only doing this because it's all about the money.
Miss Smith says the real issue is the $92,000 debt ruining her father's life. She says she was the one caring for him, while Miss Backus says she was kept away to avoid rumors. Things are getting personal, and it's all leading up to the big reveal.
Is for the financial ruin over the back child support over $90,000. I want that to stop. If she is not his child, because he
And that
was
is
about
why
to lose
I
his
needed
home,
your help.
I was the one there taking him back and forth to his doctor's appointments. I was the one that was there at the hospital
But you're
with
not
him
the only
when
daughter.
he has.
The only
I
daughter.
was the one that
You
set
are,
up
but
his
you're not
medication.
no
Let her finish.
The moment of truth is here, and the whole courtroom holds its breath.
Mr. Wooten Jr., you are not her father.